Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It is the Ant-Man channel, and it is Friday the 13th of December, 2013. I'm your host, Ant-Man, and I have a call in front of me from Education, or I have an article in front of me from WND under the column Education. This is written by Colin Flaherty. This guy, let me just tell you something about Colin Flaherty, man. This guy started reporting about the whole black mob violence like way before anyone else, dude. When I first started reading his articles, I thought it was going crazy. I was like, whoa. I was like, really? And I felt really like timid to start reporting about this stuff because I know, but you know, what encourages me is that there are people out there. Check out E.T. Williams. That guy, he knows his stuff. Man, forgive me. There's this other guy I've subscribed to who's he's an African American and he speaks out against all the lawlessness of the youth today. And it's a good thing, you guys. This doesn't have to do with racism. It just has to do with pointing out an issue in our society today. And there's nothing wrong with that. We might have to swallow our pride, but that's good for America. We should learn humility in this country. We should learn to not think of ourselves as greater than everything else and God's gift to this earth. You know, we're not. We're just human beings like everyone else. I was born into this country the way that it was, and when I woke up, I was like, hey, man, we don't even run this country, so think about it, okay? Our lives are so short that we don't ever have time to figure out the issues that we're dealing with in our time because we ignore them, or we're not educated or informed about it when we're ignorant about it. So grow, I don't want to say that, but get some thick skin, man. Get some, you know, where's your metal at, man? Because, you know, we can't just get upset and offended at everything people say. Come on, man. We need to get real and grow up in this country, man. Sucks I have to say that because I don't think I'm so great, but I have to say that. It's like pathetic, really. WND exclusive, knockout game victim. It's not real. Diagnosis: a person will take abuse in the belief they can change them for the better. Wow. So now we got a guy who's a victim of the knockout game, but he is like every other imprisoned American. He thinks that if he defends the person who's abusing him, that he will change him for the better. Wow. I don't get where people get that kind of knowledge. Editors note Colin Flaherty has done more reporting than any other journalist on what appears to be a nationwide trend of skyrocketing black-on-white crime, violence, and abuse. WND features these reports to counterbalance the virtual blackout by the rest of the media due to their concerns that reporting such incidents would be inflammatory or even racist, ridiculous, and preposterous. WND considers it racist, and it is, not to report racial abuse solely because of the skin color of the perpetrators or victims. Videos linked or embedded may contain foul language and violence. Yeah, it's really irrelevant what you... If somebody wants to call you racist, it's irrelevant. It's like if somebody said, oh, you're anti-government, I'll be like, no, I'm anti-administrative, government. I'm anti-centralized government. I'm anti-Congress giving all of their, not the judiciary powers because or their legislative powers because they can't do that. That's against the Constitution. But they find a way around it by, letting the special interests and the corporations lead them in the way that they go. But, hey, man, you can have your own opinion in this country. You don't have to be on the status. You don't have to be going on the status quo. You don't have to be going with the grain and with the idiots. Learn something about our country. What makes our country great? Well, to answer that question, go study who the founding fathers were, and then if you study the things that inspired them to make this country, then you will understand what we're here for, man. This isn't, progressivism and all that stuff, dude, is really to lie, and it's we're going in the wrong direction. Our country wasn't broke yet; we're fixing it. So, just because someone gets punched in the face, that does not make him an expert on the knockout game. Like James Adelsperger. James Adelsperger, if you have seen any of the recent news coverage on the knockout game, you have seen Adelsperger. He was walking down an alley in Pittsburgh last year when he came face to face with 6 black people. One of them punched him in the head. He was out cold before he landed face first on the concrete gutter. Now the grainy black and white security video is seemingly everywhere. The O'Reilly Factor, local and network news. Adelsperger is the poster boy for the knockout game, but he does not want any part of it. Well, he's just scared like every other domesticated yuppie in our country. if you get a little bit of attention media-wise and you have to have a political opinion, people get scared and wet themselves and they run. But in reality, they should stand up and know that the power is in them. The power is in the people. But we bow to a bunch of people who don't really have any power. It sucks because of your ignorance and fear is why they manipulate you so easily. They have a video here if you want to check it out. WND.com, knockout game victim is not real. Concerning, you know what I mean, according to this guy. Let's see. It's under the column education, by the way. So if you want to go look at it. I don't like watching these videos because they make me mad. And then I want to go out and punch people myself. It's not what I want to do. It's not the Christian thing to do. I'm not looking for fights. Appearing on the Huffington Post Live, HuffPost Live, Applesperger said he believes he is being manipulated by sinister conservative commentators like Bill O'Reilly and others who have pointed out that most of the attackers in the knockout game are black and most of the victims are not. I work with kids every day as a public school teacher for 20 years. I understand that kids are troubled. But to stereotype and go down that avenue, I am going to fan those flames of hatred. No, my friend, Mr. Spur, I'm going to find out how I can get a hold of this guy because I'm going to tell him to his face, you're a liberal. You're an idiot. You can't justify violence. They cannot justify the fact that they could go around and knock people out that are unsuspecting, and how dare you? You know, who do you speak for? You're not speaking for me, and I'm not a wimp, and I'm not a coward like you. I'm not going to get punched in my face and then defend the person who punched me. That is the domesticated, arrested development, typical liberal-minded person in this country today. Oh, no, I don't want to be a part of any of this. Justice. God, grow a brain, for Christ's sake. The knockout game is a fox trend, or a faux trend. Or how do you say that? Faux trend, said HuffPost Live, in part because the person who punched Adelsperger in the face said so on ABC's Nightline. Well, if you just go look up some statistics, most black people who are victims of other black people, and most white people who are victims of black people. So black people love hurting people today. They feel entitled to it. They feel like, hey man, I'm mad and I get to hit people, and if the news is going to protect me, I'm going to be all about it. Just like how the atheists are all about evolution because they teach it in schools and they say, leave it to the experts. You know, the typical progressive humanism and the brainwash. But anyways, Adelsperger is not the only victim of racial violence in the Pittsburgh area, though there is no indication he ever checked. If he had, he would have found that 30 miles away and just a few weeks before his attack, there was no video when a mob of black people assaulted Washington and Jefferson College running back Timothy McNerney. He died. He's dead now because of this. From the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, we don't have a very detailed description other than that there were several males, and that the majority of them, if not all of them, are black males, according to the detective Dan Stanek of the Washington Police. Maybe because they listen to music that's like, kill Whitey, yeah, N-word, kill Whitey. Because that's what they're listening to in their music and on the stupid television that brainwashes them, my friend. It's in the culture. And the culture is manipulated, in my opinion, by people in the shadow government. Applesperger is not even the only teacher whose beating was caught on video in Pittsburgh. Just a few weeks after his beating, another security video caught another black mob beating another Pittsburgh teacher. Black mobs routinely terrorize cities across the country, but the media and government are silent. And then there's a book, if you want to go check it out, it's called White Girl Bleed a Lot, The Return of Racial Violence to America and How the Media Ignore It. And I have a strong belief that Islam is part of this, giving black people entitlement, ignorant black people, entitlement to hate other people, man. I mean, how is that going to solve the problems? It's mental illness. You are insane in your freaking mind to be thinking that you are better than everyone else and you're going to go beat up people because they're different. Who said you know, it's ridiculous. They punched him, chased him, punched him some more, punched him in the street where he was almost run over by a car. This teacher did not want his name released, so maybe Applesperger was not aware of this. I was skateboarding down the street one day going to my friend's house, and I was crossing the street, and the car was coming this way, and this car came, and it was a woman driver, not saying anything, but it was a woman driver. She came like that close to me and almost hit me, and there was like a bunch of black kids over here, and they started to laugh and think that it was amusing that I almost got hit by a car. I don't want to say anything about. I don't want to blame an entire race of people for how certain people react. But hey, man, I think that some people need to live up to their responsibility and teach some morals and some accountability to the kids today, man, because they're gonna find themselves getting their butts kicked later on. I think that if they want to start a fight, they're gonna start a fight, and then they're gonna be on the wrong end of the stick because these are punks that don't know anything, and they're like the liberals that are poking their chest into us and saying, you know, like, give me all your rights, give me your guns, give me this, give me that, and we're just gonna say enough is enough, and I'm gonna rip my shirt. You're gonna see the Superman sign, and I'm gonna put some hands on somebody. But I don't want that to come down to it. The founding fathers had to resort to war and all that stuff because, dude, they were gonna have their. It's either war or you're gonna have slavery. So what do you want? Because you know what I mean. If that's where mankind tends to go, then we can't do anything about it, right? We're just here, man, and we gotta protect liberty. We gotta fight for liberty and not ignorance and stupidity and pride and all these things that don't have any interest in the public good and everyone else. Anyways, they punched them, chased them, just read that. Or how about 3 football players from Pitt who were arrested last November for spontaneously assaulting a few white students on campus. Since he did not get the example so close to home, it is probably not reasonable to expect he would have read about the St. Louis judge who said the knockout game is so prevalent there that one man alone is responsible for more than 300 assaults. It's really pathetic, my friend. Really, really pathetic that this is like a trend going on with people today. Anyways, if you guys want to read this article, I'm just going to post a link on here so that you guys could follow it, go to it. You could check out. There's like 2 videos on here. This is a big deal in our country, and if we don't fix it, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Imagine the economy's going down. I imagine, like, you know, there's like shopping complexes around my house, like, you know, a mile down the road. And I imagine these complexes being completely emptied out one day because of the economy, which is not getting any better. So it's going to be completely emptied out. They're going to be vacant. And I'm going to see, and I can already picture these young punks all mobbing together in these places and forming groups. And dude, this is not going to be good, man. This is just creating a gigantic, like a rogue mercenary type of person in our country. Because if it ever comes down to martial law, they're going to be the ones that are going to come together to come in against the old people because they got all the pills. Let's just say, where's your grandma live? You know, like that's the first person to go down is the grandmas because they got all the pills. And then, you know, it's just disgusting. The secular humanists and the sinners and wicked heathens of this world are really a disturbing thing to look at. When you see yourself in the state of nature and how filthy and disgusting you are in God's eyes, because God is the ultimate authority and standard of truth and what is good, you start to realize that, man, we are pretty ugly without God, and that we only thing that is good is God. And so human beings, my friend, are meant to be good, but if we keep letting the weakness override us, we become like liberals and, hey, let's just bend over and put our thumb in our mouths and let everything happen, right? This guy says, what nonsense. Yes, not all blacks are playing this sick game, but some are. Just like not all drivers drive drunk, but some do. Not all people are killers, but some are. Not all people are thieves, but some are. You can't ignore the perps for fear of offending the non-perps. Doing so would lead to anarchy. And I'm going to thumbs up that. But if you guys want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead. And if you guys want to leave your comments, go ahead. I would love to hear your feedback, especially about this kind of stuff. I know it's very controversial. And if you're going to get butthurt easily, then just keep your comments to yourself, all right? Peace. God bless.